about the dream. It has been my dream for 50 years.
If you ask anyone today what happened of significance in 1492, they will say it was Christopher Columbus setting sail on his voyage. But people obsessed with mundane affairs living at that time would not have think that Columbus was anywhere near as important as the fact that in 1492 the Borgias took over the papacy and Lorenzo de' Medici died and England and France signed a peace treaty, all of which also happened in 1492. Only history buffs today even know about such events, okay? Because they're only of temporary significance. But what Columbus did, opening up a new world to Western civilization, okay, we remember Columbus because of that, and we remember his sponsor. We remember Isabella because of that. We don't remember Isabella because she was Queen of Spain. How many people today know who was Queen of Spain after Isabella? Nobody, okay? Isabella was only significant because she sponsored Columbus. Well, the main significance of the United States 500 years from now is going to be because we opened up the solar system, we opened up the universe to humankind. The question is, are we still the kind of people we used to be? Are we still a nation of pioneers? Are we still the kinds of people that could cross oceans and transform a wilderness into a continental civilization of liberty, okay, and take the risks required to do that? What guarantees did Lewis and Clark have that they'd be safe crossing America with 27 men? Any Indian tribe could have snuffed them out. Okay, what guarantees did Columbus have? Okay, you know, if Columbus had insisted on waiting till it was safe to venture into the open ocean, he never would have gone. Lewis and Clark never would have gone. Okay, no one ever would have gone. And for us to say we can't go to Mars until we know it's safe is saying we can't go to Mars. But it's furthermore, it's not just saying that. It's saying that we're no longer the kind of people that we used to be. And that's something that this country cannot afford.
And so I think exploring is part of who we are. Throughout history, as we expand to some new location, we also learn how to do things differently. Whether it's a colder climate or a hotter climate, or catching a different kind of animal, or going into space.
You're going to have a population of technologically adept people in a challenging environment where they're being forced to innovate and distant from Earth regulators so that they'll be free to innovate. And under those conditions, you will have a pressure cooker for invention, just as you had in its own way with the Yankee ingenuity in 19th century America, where you had the frontier and a labor shortage pressuring you for the development of labor-saving technologies and all kinds of solutions to all kinds of problems. And America became the nation of inventors that radically transformed the world. So Mars can become a culture of invention, and those inventions licensed on Earth can raise the funds required to sustain the colony. I do think that we can actually establish a human base on Mars, growing into a colony, for, in fact, a small fraction of NASA's current budget. For a small fraction of NASA's current budget, we can have a space program that explores and settles new worlds. Now, once you have a colony on Mars, or even a substantial base, what you're going to use that base for is both to support exploration and to support research in how to be self-sustaining on Mars.
Terraforming is where we take a planet that's currently not habitable and change it so that life can survive on it. With Mars, the biggest problem is that it's too cold and the atmosphere is too thin. In order to make it habitable, we need to both increase the temperature and increase the pressure on Mars. The first step in that is probably making super greenhouse gases that will warm up the atmosphere. As the planet warms, Water and carbon dioxide from the subsurface and also from the polar caps is going to be released into the atmosphere. That will thicken the atmosphere, which will warm the planet further, but it will also increase the pressure such that liquid water can be stable on the surface of the planet.
We can learn how to grow crops on Mars using Martian water and Martian CO2 and Martian sunlight and Martian soil. We can learn how to make bricks and ceramics and glasses. We can learn how to extract geothermal power from the subsurface. We can learn how to make metals, wires, tubes, habitation structures, plastics.
And this way you build on the settlement little by little. With the space station, we've certainly shown that we can do construction in space, but it's still something very difficult.
Going to Mars is something within our current capabilities. Terraforming Mars is not. But it will be within the capabilities of the people of the future, provided we continue on a vector that supports human liberty and the development of new technologies. We'll need to create a whole ecosystem on Mars. And there will be a whole variety of plants and animals that will be needed from the highest to the lowest to construct a self-sustaining and expanding and evolving ecosystem on Mars. And in fact, Mars will never be exactly like the Earth. For example, Mars will always have 1/3 gravity. So plants and animals will evolve in new ways on Mars. We will get new species of plants and animals evolving on Mars. We'll get new species of humans evolving on Mars and on other worlds that we go to as we move out through the solar system and on to the stars.